sometimes people live long enough to see their heroes turn into the villains, and I think that's basically been the case with Bill Nye, the unironic science guy, a man who many of us grew up with, including myself, watching the show, you learn about science and the way the world works and things of that nature. Well, now that Bill Nye is super old and super desperate to stay relevant, I guess, he's had several woke disasters that are anything but scientific related. Who can forget the Bill Nye show featuring a song called My Junk, where the lyrics I can't even show the video because it'll get claimed, it appears, but she had this person who says my hookup junk is so much more than either or power bottom or a top off. It was like the most insane, ridiculous, woke garbage I've ever seen on television. It was, and you had Bill Nye, the science guy, taking part in all of this, enjoying. Look at him go! Look at him go! Oh, he just loves it. And many of the replies, of course, I'm not even religious, and this makes me want to seek salvation in Christ. This is like witnessing the fall of the Roman Empire. This girl is one of those people whose friends tell her she's hilarious, so she went into comedy. Jesus has left the chat. 2 years ago, I was in a horrible accident. I kind of felt odd after it, like I passed away or something. This video confirms my suspicion. I did not recover. I died. I am now in hell. Imagine being Bill Nye, the science guy fan, getting a chance to be in the studio audience, and then this is what you get to see. The sound of dying civilization. The video turned me into a God-fearing conservative. Legitimately, the weirdest thing about this is how Bill is really jiving to it. 4 years later, this is still the worst thing I've ever seen. I converted to Christianity after to save my soul after this. I mean, it is. This is Bill Nye. This is Bill Nye now. Well, this is also Bill Nye now tweeting, the United States, we know, was built with the labor of enslaved Black Americans. The last were not freed officially until the 19th of June, 1865. By the way, are you English, Bill Nye? Maybe he is. I don't know. The Americans don't write their dates like that. So whatever. Let us celebrate and never forget, except Bill. Read a history book. Bill Nye is schooled online after claiming that Juneteenth, which is what he was celebrating, was the day slavery ended in the United States, even though it was not fully abolished until 6 months later. Bill Nye, the science guy, mistakenly claimed that Juneteenth was the day slavery ended in America, and internet users were quick to tell the famed TV educator to hit the history books. Nye, known for his educational 90s TV program, made the assertion in his tweet Sunday afternoon, in a post that saw the 66-year-old attempt to ring in the holiday with some historical insight. The date, made into a federal holiday by President Biden, thank God, commemorates the emancipation of slaves in the United States. However, the anniversary is widely considered symbolic, with several states permitting slavery at that point, and slaves not formally freed until December 1865, when the 13th Amendment fully abolished the practice. In actuality, the date commemorates news of the Emancipation Proclamation issued 2 years earlier by Abraham Lincoln, spreading to still Confederate-run Texas by way of the U.S. Union General Gordon Granger on June 19, 1865. That day, the Army announced that more than 250,000 enslaved Black people in the state were to be freed by Lincoln's famed executive decree, a day that the newly freed people dubbed Juneteenth. Roughly 6 months later, the 13th Amendment fully prohibited the owning of slaves, spurring states such as Kentucky and Delaware, where it had still been legal, to cease the practice. You could see, look, a lot of people are like, this is not accurate. This is not true. Juneteenth does not commemorate the 13th Amendment. It commemorates the news of the Emancipation Proclamation reaching Texas. 2 Union states had slavery until December 1865. Please open that and tell us what date the 13th Amendment was ratified into the Constitution that ended slavery once and for all. Hint, it's not June 19th. Look, I can't keep up with, all these holidays now, especially nowadays when, we're rescinding holidays, we're renaming holidays. Look, nobody thinks slavery was good. And, the abolishment of said slavery obviously was a good thing. You might be shocked to find out how many slaves there currently are right now in 2022. If people care to do any kind of research, I'm sure if Bill Nye were to look at where some of the funding from his TV networks came from, those countries probably still have slaves. And also, how this real knowledge of the slave trade and all this kind of stuff that most people don't bother to really understand. But I think in general, as long as you are human, alive in 2022, I think we can agree that, obviously slavery is a bad thing. Its abolishment is a good thing. But also you have these like woke lunatics like Bill Nye and others still there are people that want reparations, which is insane. There are people that think I'm supposed to feel some sort of guilt over it. I don't. I don't feel like I need to preface every Independence Day or every holiday by saying, oh, but even though we have a deep history full of bad things, every country does. I didn't own any slaves. My parents didn't own any slaves. My grandparents didn't own any slaves. My grandparents' grandparents didn't own any slaves. And my grandparents' 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 grandparents fought in the Civil War to free the slaves. Okay? I didn't, I didn't, and even, by the way, even if my great grandparents did own them, it has nothing to do with me, and I bear zero guilt or responsibility from that. The idea that this wokeism is like a new religion for atheists, and rich liberals, is hilarious to me. Others listed states that had yet to abolish slavery. States not covered in the historic guidance included current President Biden's home state of Delaware. Too bad Bill Nye was wrong, one user wrote. The last enslaved people weren't freed until the 13th Amendment was ratified in 1865. The Emancipation Proclamation did not cover Kentucky along with Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, Missouri. Read a history book, Bill. Another added, actually, the final slaves weren't freed until in Kentucky and Delaware, Joe Biden's home state, until the 13th Amendment was ratified on December 6th, 1865. This is basic United States history. You would be forgiven not knowing it these days because they don't actually teach this kind of stuff in school anymore. They teach more about gender ideology. Maybe if a drag queen read the book, you might know that. But this is table stakes stuff. This is one thing when I look at other countries, in particular, even if you look at China, I don't know if their form of history is actually accurate or if it's all propagandized, but so it feels like their culture is so maybe not using China as an example, that'd probably be a bad one, but other countries, European countries, for example, people seem to know a lot more about their own country's history than here in America, where kids grow up and I don't know, they never get taught even how to balance a checkbook because, they want kids to make sure they take out big loans and stuff like that. Our education system sucks in America, but Bill Nye should know. Bill Nye came from a generation where they actually still taught history. Bill Nye is literally the science guy. Nye, who show when, it should be noted that instances of this slavery were still rife after the amendment was ratified. Obviously, Nye, whose show went off the air following a 5-year run in 1998, has yet to comment on the slew of corrections leveled at him following his false statement. It's not the first time the supposed science guy has offered his wisdom to fans. In May 2019, he threw a profanity-laden tirade in a video played on HBO's Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, which saw him hysterically warn of disastrous effects of climate change. By the end of this century, if emissions keep rising, the average temperature on the Earth could go up 4 to 8 degrees. What I'm saying is the planet is on effing fire. And I said, as he set fire to a wooden globe sitting on the desk in front of him. Grow the F up. You're not children anymore. I don't mind explaining photosynthesis to you when you're 12, but you're adults now. And this is actual crisis. Safety glasses off. MFers. Again, I don't really, you know, this guy has just turned into a leftist lunatic. And, you know, by the way, hey, save the environment. And I think people should do a lot, should do more. Corporations should do more. Government should do more to save this planet. More parks, you know, clean energy, more nuclear power plants, you know, things of that nature. But this like alarmism doesn't really get anything done. It just makes you look like a lunatic. And you know, this tweet, by the way, had 270,000 likes. 270,000 people who are agreeing with incorrect information. But anytime you get a chance to like whine about slavery and act like, you know, oh, you totally would have fought against it if you had only just been alive 250 years ago, is always hilarious too to watch. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you click that red subscribe button down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.